You know this yourself, whether it's with sugar or other kinds of junk food. The food that we have in this modern day is so addictive, low quality, lacking in nutrition. And here we are just eating it as if it's completely normal. And if you don't have a problem with the things that you eat, then maybe it's someone that you know, or there's a lot of people you know which have literally got health problems inside of them. There's genuine like cancer and diabetes forming right now. And yet we're still having 100 grams of sugar every single day without realizing. If you can relate to this, I just want to twist the knife on your pain a little bit. Are we really men of character and strength if there's substances that we're consuming every day that actually have such a hook on us? And so this is exactly what you do to overcome the pull that sugar and junk food has on you. In that same marshmallow experiment, they found that when they cued the children to feel negative and to feel unhappy, they were far less likely to delay gratification. So if you're sad, you'll have less willpower. If you're happy, you have more willpower. And you can almost imagine like the middle-aged women who struggle with their diets. And you always hear of this, of like guilty, upset, depressive eating. When someone is sad, they always are more likely to cheat on their diet. And the same thing for us with not just diets, but let's say porn and video games. I think that when we've done these bad habits, our emotions have played a huge part in that. We often will eat the sugar or we'll watch the porn, not when we're hungry or when we're feeling horny, but rather when we're just bored, sad, and lonely. What's super interesting is that when those researchers cued these children to feel sad or to feel happy, to see what the effective emotion was on their ability to delay gratification, guess how they did it? It was as simple as just telling the children to remember a specific type of memory. So when they wanted to see the effect of like being sad on your ability to have willpower, they literally just said to the children, like a standardized sentence that they said to each of them, think of something sad, like when you're crying, but there's no one there to help you. That was the one cue that they gave that literally put the children in a sad mood. I keep saying this in every video that I record. You can control which emotions that you feel. You do it by manually putting a thought inside of your mind, manually thinking of a memory that makes you feel sad, manually thinking of something that makes you feel anxious. Now, most of the time, these emotions and thoughts and memories come about automatically in our brain, don't they? It's like, you're just going through life, you're just whatever you're doing, whatever you're supposed to be doing, and suddenly there's a thought of anxiousness, suddenly there's a thought of sadness. That happens, but we need to be manually implanting positive thoughts, recalling happy memories, like manually, forcefully into our brain. Because when they did that and the researchers asked the children, think of something that makes you happy, like when your mommy pushes you really high on the swing, like the little swing thing in like a children's playground. This was their standardized sentence, and it literally worked to make the children happy, which then meant that they delayed gratification more. So why don't we just start doing this just through the day? Just recall things that make you happy more. Quite frankly, there's a lot of like weak and hateful people in this modern world. Usually the weaker people are more hateful. And so when they see you being quite happy and when they see us discussing something like this, they'll for some reason think that this is evil. Like, you can imagine the kind of person I'm thinking about. There's people who, if they found out that we were manually implanting positive thoughts and memories in our brain, they would say that this is like a bad practice. They would almost like, they're there in depression, like wanting you to feel depressed. But we've experienced what it's like to feel depressed, and it's fucking awful. So why would we stay like that? It sounds so inconsiderate, like insensitive. But really the cure to like your emotional problems is like, just think of something pleasant. It's pretty much as simple as that. Just think of something pleasant right here, right now, as like a mini actionable step. Think of a happy memory that you've got, one that you couldn't stop laughing. Like, when was the time where you can remember where you like fully laughed a lot? Play that memory into your mind. You can't help but to feel more pleasant when that happens. And when you have that pleasant feeling, you're going to wait out for the second marshmallow. Now, what do you think would happen when they kept on reminding the kids who were trying to delay gratification of what the reward would be if they waited? Remember, they get 2 marshmallows if they wait, but only 1 if they eat it right now. When the researchers kept on reminding the children that they'd get essentially double the reward, they were more likely to delay gratification because they kept the dream result in their mind. And that reminds me of what you can probably imagine like a bunch of businessmen do. They write their goals every morning. They're keeping the dream result in mind. And do you do this? Why not think to yourself every single day what the dream result that you're waiting out for is? There's a random girl like giving you flirtatious eyes and she's speaking to you. Maybe she's approached you. but you don't want to cheat on your woman. Why don't you just think of like the dream results with your woman? The happy long-term relationship, the children, the beautiful, loving, safe household. Because when a man is tempted, if that's the things that he's thinking of, but then he's not going to cheat. But on the other side, the man who gets tempted and he thinks about the pleasure that he could go and gain right now, and he almost tries purposely not to think about his family, he's the one who breaks his commitments. Remind yourself of what the dream results you want is. This works super, super well for this step right here with sugar, with your diet, with your physique. Put a picture of your dream physique on your phone lock screen. Go take like the best picture you've taken so far in the gym and put it as your phone lock screen. And if you get tempted by sugar and by diet, just look at that picture. Look at that picture and feel proud of yourself and think to yourself like, this is what I'm working so hard for. I like looking good. I like feeling strong. I've built this myself. And so when you get tempted and you look at a picture like that, you remind yourself, this is what you're doing it for. There's 2 books that I read for this full guide. One is The Marshmallow Test by Walter Mischel, and this is the one, talking about the marshmallows and the children. But the other book I read, which is super interesting, is called Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. I read that book for the Discipline full guide that's on my channel, but a lot of it was about willpower, resisting desires. And there was a quote which I want to read you out, and as I read it to you, maybe just visualize what I'm saying. Remember to conduct yourself in life as if at a banquet. As something being passed around comes to you, reach your hand and take a moderate helping. Does it pass by you? Don't stop it. It hasn't come yet. Don't burn in desire for it, but wait until it arrives in front of you. Act this way with children, a spouse, towards position, with wealth. One day it will make you worthy of a banquet with the gods. If you imagine yourself in that situation, you're in this restaurant and they're bringing delicious food over. Most people will have such intense desires or like this uncontrollable urge to feast right now. They can smell the nice, tasty, like trans fats coming into the air, and they'll really want a lot. You can imagine a fat relative of yours who would take like big servings, stick it onto his plate, and some of your other fat relatives will almost compliment him on that and say like, wow, you're eating so much. But imagine yourself this stoic, unperturbed by the addictions of food, still enjoying it, but within moderation, of mastering the desire inside of you for this addictive food. And it's very hard to have the thing that you might be addicted to, the sugar, the junk food, right in front of you, but to be able to act with character at the same time. That's why I'm inviting you to do a practice, which is what I call willpower training. I did this for a year straight, every single day, and it changed my life. It will change yours, and it's super simple. Go out to a store as soon as you can and go and buy your all-time favorite treat. Maybe it's a chocolate bar, maybe it's crisp, maybe whatever it is. Like the thing that is unhealthy, but you've always like really, really liked. For me, it's like chocolate bars, and there's one in specific called Kinder Hippos, like absolutely delicious chocolate bar. And there's also Lindor chocolate. Like people in the UK will know what I'm talking about. Okay, you go out and you go buy one of those, like one chocolate bar, right? Put it on your desk. Put it in front of you. Stare at it like a psychopath. Feel the emotions that arises, the copes that start in your brain thinking like, yeah, this is kind of weird. I may as well just eat it. Otherwise, it'll be wasted. Like, because someone else might eat it. So yeah, I may as well just eat it now because Hamza was being weird with that thing. Stare at it and just analyze the thoughts and feelings that happen. Get a journal out and ask yourself, why does this have power over me? I know that it's not good. Why do I feel an urge to indulge in it right now? This will drain your willpower, but this is how you level willpower up. It's when you use your willpower like a muscle and then it gets strengthened overnight. You do this as like a specific practice. You just go and get the all-time favorite snack, put it in front of you. The reason why I suggest this is because I've heard in the self-improvement space online of everyone just saying like, oh yeah, just throw away the junk food and don't buy it at the store so that, your environment is clean. That's actually pretty good advice, but it's not good enough. You know why? I want you to imagine like there's some fat woman who's got problems with dieting, and she's got a bunch of snacks in her kitchen, and she hears this self-improvement, so this lame ass like average advice of like, yeah, just throw it away and just don't buy it at the store anymore. This is what most people do. This is probably what you've thought is the right answer. It's not, because what's going to happen to her? She's going to throw it all away, feel kind of proud of herself, and then she's going to go to work and her co-worker is going to offer it to her. And then there's the birthday party coming up and someone's going to offer it there. With how prevalent sugar and unhealthy food is, and just addictions and drugs in general, you're never safe just by changing the environment. We should absolutely set up our environment for success. You don't want to just have porn open 24/7 on your computer or something. But at the same time, you want to develop like the mental strength, the willpower, so that if porn was blasted right in front of you, you'd be okay. So that if someone pulls out the ultimate chocolate bar that you've always loved your entire life, you'd be okay saying no because you've been training for this very moment. Throwing it out is like level 1, like you've made some progress. Throwing it out, but then specifically getting the hardest thing for you to use your willpower again and dangling that in front of you like a psychopath and staring at it with your squinted eyes and thinking, why do you have control over me? That will make you realize things that you've never known about yourself. If you feel like you have absolutely no self-control at all, then maybe skip this step because it's quite advanced. But willpower training will work for you if you can kind of imagine yourself that if you've got this sort of chocolate bar, you would be able to somewhat resist. You might even cope and just eat it and say like, oh, well, the experiment is done. The willpower training was kind of stupid, so I'm just going to eat it because otherwise it'd be a waste. Even if you coped, you'd benefit because straight after that, you'd feel guilty as fuck and realize how much extra power it had over you. I had my favorite chocolate bar on my desk for an entire year. After a few days, you lose the desire for it because these things are very unnatural. How does this piece of food just last there, just there on your desk? It makes you realize it's not even real food. It's just like this weird chemical substance that some scientists and entrepreneurs have put together to addict you. So when I've got my favorite chocolate bar on top of my desk, and I haven't touched it for months, when it's time for someone's birthday and I can see that they've got like a kind of a mediocre, shitty cake, I'm not going to have any. When I go out to a restaurant, I'm not going to have the dessert menu because I've already had the perfect thing in front of me. I've been training my willpower so that when the addiction is in front of me, I can resist it. Do that while still setting up your environment for success. You still, for example, don't want to be using your phone or your computer for work and stumble upon something that's going to trigger you into relapsing in your nofap streak. So you want to set up that. You still, for example, want to go through the kitchen and make your food without seeing something that you might quickly grab and eat. But some specific time for willpower training can be very beneficial. That's your actionable step. Go and get the thing that you feel addicted to. It can be sugar, it can be junk food, it can be for any of the other addictions that we spoke about, and just put it in front of you and journal about what you feel and be pissed off. You liked this video, so go and watch the full guide because it took me weeks to make and it will genuinely change your life. It's popped up as a card. Go click on that right now. It's also a link in the description. Go click on that right now.